I think the reason why we actually decided to leave Chicago was because I was working for a maple farm out of Medora, Indiana called Burton's Maplewood Farm, and we were traveling the country. There was times where I was on the road for 4 or 5 months, and then Matt was traveling to places like Thailand or out of the country, to Canada, and we were just realizing that we missed each other, and we were starting to lose that connection to each other.
We had talked about doing an RV trip of some sort at first, and then we realized that we could just buy an RV and do this full time because we have the flexibility and our jobs allow for that. So we figured rather than shelve that idea and wait a few years and risk not being able to do it, we might as well just go for it. Potential and excitement was just too great to pass up.
Yeah, especially when you look at the outdoors and opening up your RV door and the world is your front room. That kind of excitement was just worth the risk. And like you said, definitely taking that chance while we had it, because you don't get that chance more than once in a lifetime.
We made it to the Rocky Mountains! Woo!
We've kind of been a good portion of the country. We've crisscrossed back and forth. We've spent a lot of time in the Southwest, in Florida, in Texas, in the Dakotas, Wyoming, a lot of national parks, which became a priority. And they were something we were interested in from the beginning of moving into the RV, but it became a major stopping point, really, wherever we went in the country. And spent a lot of time in and around Disney in Florida, DC, so a lot of cities that we had never been to before that we really got to love and adore.
Well, I think some of the challenges would be that for me, I didn't have as many challenges as Matt because I look more masculine and more quote unquote straight. And so we didn't have that same experience, but there was times where Matt was walking by himself in rural parts of the country where he would get called names and harassed just for who he was. And that kind of privilege that I've had, Matt didn't get to experience. And I would say that was our biggest struggle because I always fear for my family's lives, just like anybody does. And so when that happens, that's where our biggest challenges come from. I think one of the biggest aspects was we decided that we just had to be ourselves, no matter what. If anything, we've been attacked in different articles because of that, and that's okay. It shows more about their character than ours, and we're going to continue being who we are because we love America. We love the cities that we visit, and there's so many amazing gems and communities within them.
Yeah, all these things, unfortunately, I wasn't super surprised by some negative stuff, and I knew that was always at least a possibility. But then conversely, I was very pleasantly surprised by a lot of warmth and welcoming people. In Cheyenne, Wyoming, there was this coffee shop there that was lovely and so in opposite of what I initially would have expected arriving there. Well, for one, the easy thing was having friends and family here, so experiencing it that way on my first trip. I had no idea what to expect. That was my first time here. That was 2 or 3 years ago. And it really blew me away. I loved the city, the energy, the people. It has a palpable sense of enthusiasm and welcoming nature to it. When we moved into the RV, we would come through Oklahoma City a lot just because it was so central geographically, and got to know it more and more. And every time we were here, it just kind of solidified that sense of warmth and just gracious people and businesses all over the city. It became to that level where we'd be wistful for Oklahoma City and then want to come back and have that familiarity.